I don't expect everyone to know or care about what's happening in New York, you know? Which is why I was surprised that the nation seems so gripped by New York City's mayoral race. Like, this, people talk about it everywhere because I think it's just feels like a beta test for something bigger. You know? In case you're not familiar with who's running, right? You have to understand who's running to understand what's happening. Eric Adams is the mayor of New York City, and Eric Adams, in case you don't know, is one of the worst people at corruption I've ever seen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, have a little mystery about you. Like, it's just, I feel like I could pay him off. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, like, one day when they make, like, his corruption is just, it's not enough. You know what I mean? If you're gonna be corrupt, go all in. He'd be having me feel bad for him. You know what I mean? You did all this corruption, that's all they gave you? You should have asked for more. I was very upset. If they ever revisit this chapter in New York mayoral history, everybody gonna be disappointed. Be like, flights? He went down for flights? Just tickets? You know what I mean? You had a dude in Illinois at least going down for gold bars. That's real corruption. That's like cartoon corruption. You know what I mean? Like, he took it back to the 50s level corruption. Break me off some gold bars, I'll get you anything you want. That's mustache twiddling, tie women to railroads corruption. That's crazy. And you over here embarrassing us as New Yorkers. This is a very rich city, and you going down for a couple flights to Turkey. Turkey! It's insane. But anyway, this dude got indicted while in office, but because he has no shame, everybody was like, he gonna step down, right? Like, he got stepped down once he's indicted. That's too embarrassing to go to work indicted. The closest thing I can imagine to, like, okay, okay, this is bad, my bad. Look, so when I was a kid, I mean, I was a little bit older, but my buddy's dad got in trouble, and he got a little time. He had to do like a year, right? But he did, one of the crimes, I still don't understand this, one of the crimes where you get to report to jail. Like, you get to report to, that's always weird, because whenever you watch Law and Order, they take you immediately, like, jail start right after usually that's jail, you know what I mean? Like, usually they take you out, I didn't do it, right? But for some reason, they told him he was guilty, but they let him, get his stuff in order, and he could report to jail. And that weekend, his son, my friend, took the car without permission and came home a little later than curfew. And clearly, his kid may be like acting out of frustration about things that are going on with his dad, but he gets home and his dad's very upset with him. And he's like, you didn't ask for permission for the car. You're supposed to be home by 10. I'm sorry, but you're grounded. And my buddy was like, no, I'm just throwing it out there, because which one of us got to go to jail on Monday? Like, it sounds like you grounded. It sounds like you really the one in trouble here. And that's kind of what it felt like with Adams. He's like, still trying to be a mayor, talk about crime and stuff. talking about crime in the city. And so then you also have Curtis Sliwa. And Curtis Sliwa is the Republican running. And he's an interesting dude. He's like the head of the Guardian Angels. If you don't know what the Guardian Angels are, they're basically these people who hang out on the subway. You know the movie The Warriors? All right, it's like that, but if one of the gangs wanted to be the police. Like, all they really do is just fight black and brown people that they think are doing a crime, and sometimes lose the fight very badly because they are getting older. And Curtis Sliwa, like, I guess I could slightly see how someone like him ends up like him, because he does have a story of violence against him for every story you bring up about New York City. Like, you'll be like, hey, do you ever take the yellow cab? He's like, I was shot in the back of a yellow cab in 1986. And you're like, how has this much happened to you? But Curtis Lee was running as a Republican. And then you have Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo is a former governor. And now he is running for mayor because governor turned out so well. And then you have Zohran Mamdani. And Zohran Mamdani almost feels like a fixture of politics at the moment, because he is someone who seems to be the antidote for the thing that's been ailing the Democratic Party maybe for like 9 years. You know? This is a dude who is running on what he will do and his own policies that he believes in, and is one of the first people, Democrat or Republican, that is running without really having to say anything about Trump. He has his own ideas. He has things he wants to do for the place that he is running. He's not running on being not like Trump or closer to Trump or someone Trump will call or someone that Trump hates. He is not using Trump in his orbit. People bring him up, but he himself is saying, I want to make the buses fast and free. I want to have free child care. I want to freeze the rent for rent-stabilized homes. And I want to make sure that we hold bad landlords accountable. Things that are very specific, because that's the other thing that it feels like the Democratic Party has been missing, is a clear and concise plan for a policy, something that you can attach yourself to, that you don't really need to get in the weeds for. Because I'm not saying that Democratic senators and Democratic candidates have not had good plans. I'm just saying that once you need a graph, we are a country that doesn't like to read. It doesn't matter if it's a pie chart, it's still reading. Because one of the things that they've come after Mamdani about over and over and over again about his policies, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to do this? How do you plan to pay for it, right? And one thing that he's done very well is had a quick and simple explanation for his plans to pay for something, So when they ask him about maybe the bus system or maybe more rent stabilization, he'll say, oh, we already spend this much money. So for the buses, he's like, we already generate $700 million in a bus fare. I think that would, is clearly money that we could use towards a free bus system. Also, all we have to do is raise the corporate tax rate, and we'll have billions of extra dollars that could go towards childcare, billions of extra dollars that could go towards like a bus system. And then they're like, well, how do you plan to pay for it? Raising the corporate tax. Well, what will happen? If you raise the corporate tax, people will leave. Where are you raising the corporate tax to? And he'll be like, oh, I'm just raising it to the same as New Jersey. Like what they already do right there. Like they actually already do it over there. I guess you didn't know that, but it's already, I would just copy them. It wouldn't be higher than that. Like I would copy what they do over there. And I don't know, is everyone dead in New Jersey? I don't think so. I don't think everybody left. In fact, a lot of people moved there. So I think they'll be fine. But I don't think that Zohran is leading in the polls or is the Democratic candidate because of his clear and concise policy. I don't even think it's his youth. I don't even think it's because he's captured a moment. I think that he is the front runner because he, more so than anybody else, to a degree I've never seen before, is the number one, I'm telling you, the number one, of all time, the number one Andrew Cuomo hater. He hates this dude. He hates this dude so much. He hates this man. He wake up and hate him. He wake up and he hate him with a smile too. You ever had somebody hate you with a smile? It makes you feel crazy. You're like, what you just said to me was foul, but you smiling. Why are you smiling? No, he hates this dude. And look, don't get me wrong, they all hate him. Like every candidate hates Cuomo. Eric Adams hated Cuomo so much that even though he had zero chance of winning, even though he was actually campaigning, this man was like, look, I'm gonna do it better next time. And we're like, do you mean crime? Do you mean... Eric Adams, he's even, look, to his credit, he is stumping with Cuomo. He's over there side by side with Cuomo and everything, probably looking for a job because he's about to be out of one. You know what I mean? Like, he is out there with Cuomo, but you can tell he hates this dude. Sliwa hates him. Curtis Sliwa hates Cuomo. He hates Cuomo so much that he was actually asked, by a reporter, you know, you're over here getting about 11% in the polls. Why not drop out if you don't want Zohran to win that much? Why not drop out? And clearly the people voting for you might also vote for Cuomo. And then Curtis Sliwa looked really offended. He was like, why would I drop out? People like me. This man is running as a Republican in New York City, and he's still like, I'm not gonna drop out if it helps him. Zohran Mamdani hates Cuomo. He hates that dude so much. Hates him so effectively. Real hate. I've never hated somebody so much. I learned all their stats. Zohran hates Cuomo so much he memorized everything Cuomo ever did wrong and bring it up any chance he get. That's generational hate. I think Andrew Cuomo hates Andrew Cuomo because he running. It's like, why are you putting yourself through this? You know, man. Because then you look at the debates. Okay. This is very important. I gotta go back in the story for a second because Andrew Cuomo wasn't always hated. Even if you hate him right now, think back to a time where you didn't even know who he was. That time he was like beloved. People forget all about it because that's kind of what we do whenever somebody has lost favor in the public eye. A lot of people say they never liked them or that they don't really know why anyone ever liked him. But people loved Cuomo, especially 2019 into 2020. People loved that dude. People loved Cuomo so much. I think that's why people hate him so much now. Because everything he did feels like such a betrayal of their love. You know, people were out here calling themselves Cuomo-sexuals. Look it up. That's a real thing. People loved him so much. And then he got popular around the same time that like zaddy became a term and everything. So he was riding some of that wave and stuff. And you know, there were people, Cuomo couldn't go anywhere without middle-aged women fawning. They were like, oh, he's so handsome. They loved Cuomo. And then COVID came. And for a little while, they loved him even more because New York's numbers during COVID looked really, really bad initially. Obviously, it would. It's an epicenter of travel. People go there from all over the world. And we're also on top of each other all the time, pandemic or no pandemic. But then, We saw these huge numbers that scared everybody, and Cuomo's like, we're going to take this seriously, we're going to lock everything down, and he announced a bunch of policies. As soon as he announced those policies went into effect, and you saw the numbers crater. It was genuinely amazing to watch. It really felt like there was a lot of hope, and everybody was going to live, and this is a long time before the vaccine came out or anything, so it was when people were at peak fear, right? But it was a wild time in New York because we had shut down so effectively that for the first time in New York City, the air was clean. You could take a deep breath. And then later, there was a scandal. Basically, it was exposed that Cuomo was doing some of the same things that Ron DeSantis was accused of doing in Florida, because Florida also had some pretty good numbers during COVID, which is weird because they didn't have any real shutdowns. They didn't have any real like mask regulations or anything like that. But then both Cuomo and DeSantis were caught just not reporting or telling people not to report certain numbers. And it turned out that New York was looking really, really good in certain sections of the lockdown, except for nursing homes. And so the thing that's really important about that is that if you see the numbers going down and you've set up a bunch of policies, you'll think, okay, we should just keep doing this, see if the numbers go down further, right? If the numbers go up, you're like, clearly we need to change something. So because we did not have those markers of spikes, we didn't change things. And so there were a lot of seniors that died that didn't need to. They died in nursing homes because of protocols that just didn't have enough evidence around them and weren't the best practices, right? And he was covering it up. Some were saying by 50%, right? And so people started to like him a heck of a lot less. And then at the same time, basically in tandem, he was accused by about 11 women of sexual harassment. Then it was 13. That's stats. Those are numbers. Double digits, you doing it. You are clear. 13 women who don't know each other all got a story about you. That's you. You doing it. All of a sudden, nobody was a Cuomo-sexual anymore. And everybody was telling this dude to resign, but he tried to fight it. He was like, I'm gonna fight these allegations. You're gonna see my name's gonna be cleared. And we were like, all right, but even if they clear your name on these sexual harassment allegations, you still did the nursing home thing. And so everybody from Joe Biden to Eric Adams was telling this dude to resign, and he finally resigned in 2021, and now he's running for mayor. That's just important to make sure you know, because I've watched people struggle before in a way that was kind of what looked like a bit of a lost cause. I try to be optimistic for people that are in my life, but I'll give you an example. My buddy wanted to enter arm wrestling contest, and we are built the same. I'm never going to tell anybody not to follow their dream, but I won't let someone sleepwalk off a building. And so I was like, are you sure? Because, you know, you look like a mirror right now, and I'm not entering any arm wrestling. But he's like, no, I want to do it. Been watching online. It's so cool. There's actually a tournament coming up. I want to go. And so, you know, I went with him. We went, and this dude squares up. It's one of those ones where they got the peg on one side, so you grab it, and they got your arm with the pad for your elbow. And sure enough, they went. And as soon as they started, he was over here. Oh! 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 And I couldn't believe that this man was actually winning. He was like pushing the arm down, and then he won. I was surprised. You know, like when people got that farmer strength? You don't see any like real definition of muscle. It's all smooth, but they're incredibly strong. I was like, maybe that's him. And then I watched him from round to round. This man got to the semifinals. And at the semifinals, somebody walked up who really did look like a final boss. In my head, I was like, you've done very well for yourself. It's time to pack it up before he take the arm for good. It's gonna pop right out the socket. You're gonna leave with one. And sure enough, he squared up. And then they told him to go, and he, oh! But this was different. This dude wasn't really moving, but he was really strained, even leaning a bit. Oh, and then he started to make noises he hadn't made in the other rounds. Oh! Oh! Once you scream in an arm wrestling contest, you have lost something. This man, oh! 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 And he's straining, and he's straining, and he's straining till finally he goes, oh! Oh! And he won. Now, to be fair, he won because the other guy went, ugh! And apparently that is a disqualification. Yeah, even when we were in the car ride home, we did have to leave. He didn't get to go to the finals because even when we were in the car, I was over there trying to be optimistic. I was over there like, at least you won. I give you an example of how much Zohran Mamdani hates Andrew Cuomo. In the first debate, right? In the first debate, it was Curtis Lewa, Zohran Mamdani, and Andrew Cuomo all on stage together. Really, the race is between these two, but every once in a while we throw Curtis a question. And Cuomo's talking, and he goes, look, this is not a job. Being a mayor of one of the richest, biggest cities in the country is not a place for on-the-job experience. You know, this guy's never had a job before, and I don't think he can run the city. He definitely can't run it like I can. I can do a much better job. This is not a job for experience while you're in it. You gotta know, you gotta come with plans of what you're gonna do. And to his credit, Zohran, you know, it's like, I do have plans for what I'm gonna do. I've stated my plans clearly. Your only plan is to attack me. And Cuomo also came at him with a couple of things that are like talking points that a bunch of the candidates have used that they're not really clicking for me, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't have enough Islamophobia to have it register. But one of the things that Cuomo brings up is like, this man still, you know, won't denounce the phrase globalize the Intifada. All right, you know, he's over here lobbing accusations at me. He still won't denounce the phrase globalize the Intifada. What Andrew Cuomo is referring to, supposedly, is a time where someone else said it and Zohran didn't, I guess, tackle them. This isn't language that he used. It's not something he said. It's something that someone else said that I guess he didn't do enough about in Cuomo's eyes, right? Mamdani responded, well, look, you're talking about things that are from 2020, and since we're talking about things that are from 2020, I don't know why people would elect a mayor who sent so many seniors to their deaths in nursing homes. What I lack in experience, I make up for in integrity, and for what you lack in integrity, you could never make up for in experience. And I've never watched any debate like a rap battle. I was sitting in front of the computer like, oh! Get him! No, it's wild. Even Curtis Lewa got in digs on Cuomo. Cuomo's catching it from all angles. Because then, they were talking about the accusations that had been lobbed at Cuomo during his time as governor. And Curtis Lewa goes, really? You spent all that money defending yourself? Really? All 13 women are lying, Andrew? All 13 women? This man hates Cuomo so much, he is standing up for women as a Republican. This dude hates Cuomo with all his heart. This dude hates Cuomo so much. And then the second debate was even worse. There was a moment in the second debate where the candidates were allowed to ask each other a question. It was just question and answer. They couldn't go back and forth. You just got question, you had to answer. And Cuomo went over on Mamdani and he was like, you took a picture with this leader in Uganda. Did you know that this leader is actually someone who denounces all rights for gay people? They've actually worked on making it illegal to be gay in Uganda, and you took a picture with them. And Zohran answered, listen, at the time, I did not know this person's policies. I took a picture with this person. If I had known, I would not have taken that picture, full stop, right? And then it was Zohran's turn. And Zohran asked, he was like, Mr. Cuomo, in 2021, you were credibly accused by 13 women of sexual harassment. And in that time, you spent $20 million of taxpayer funds to defend yourself from all of these women. And you've lobbed, lawsuits, and you've worked with judges for gag orders and everything. You filed defamation suits on all these women. You have actually tried to obtain gynecological medical records of some of these women. Well, one of those women, Charlotte Bennett, is actually here tonight in the audience. And, she can't even tell her story or speak for herself because you've lodged a defamation suit against her. But I can speak, so I want to ask on all of their behalfs, what do you say to the 13 women that accused you of sexual harassment? And it's in that moment I realized I wasn't hating to my full potential as a person. You know what I mean? Like, I am a C-tier hater when it comes to this level of hate is unprecedented. I thought Kendrick hated Drake. This is truly wild. Because what can you do if you're Cuomo? I'll tell you what he did. He went, You went to Uganda? Truly, I have not seen a face like that on a person. Like Andrew Cuomo's face when it was happening. I hadn't seen anyone make a face like that since my friend won his arm wrestling contest. I feel like the same thing was happening to Cuomo that happened to my buddy. It's very bad. Whew. And Zohran is still leading in the polls, And one of the reasons that I think that he's still leading is because some of these efforts to stop Mamdani have only helped him. Only helped him because billionaires have come out in force against every policy and against Zohran as a candidate. And that says a lot. They're like accidentally making him more popular. President Trump even said that if Zohran wins, he may have to mobilize the National Guard, take over New York City, which would be not just like a spit in the face to an open, free, and fair election, but what messaging does that look like to you? That you might have to send the National Guard and take over a city if the dude who wants free pre-K wins? Like all their efforts, they've spent so much money. Zohran himself has said, y'all are spending way more money on ads trying to campaign against me than I was even gonna tax you. You don't want it that bad, and why don't you want it that bad? That's crazy. There's something happening here, and I think that's why it's got so much tension across the nation. I think that, you know, America's very good at telling a story, and America is a salesman unto itself. It's like a salesman of a dream and of an idea, you know, and people, you know, one of the things that Trump and other people have said about Zohran is that he's a communist. He says he's a socialist, but he's a communist. And maybe that would have worked like 20 years ago. That might have worked. But we are a capitalist country. We all live in capitalism. And it's going poorly enough for enough people that they're willing to try anything. So calling someone a communist, this sort of Russia red, China red scare, it just doesn't hit the same when people are working jobs and still can't afford to feed their families. And then along comes someone with not just a lot of energy, but a lot of hope that says it doesn't have to be this way. Look at what they do over there. If we just did what they do over there, we'd be able to have more things for us, which is our money anyway. A lot of people have this misconception that the money that a corporation makes is all theirs and was all earned. But they got that money from how much they pay their workers, how much they actually provide for their consumers. And you see that when left up to their own devices, they skimp on, let's say it's just food, they skimp on ingredients, they skimp on workers, they skimp on. And then one day when they have $1 billion valuation, we look at them as if to tax them would be taking their $1 billion instead of just taking back what is owed to the people that made them great, you know? And so I think that what is so scary for people about Zohran that really don't like him is that he is a reminder to a lot of people that you are a citizen, you're not a consumer, you are a constituent, you're not a customer. Like the story that gets told now, especially by our politicians, is that if you ask for what is owed to you, what is actually yours, you're asking for a handout. But you already paid for these things, and you pay them. So the idea that these people would all stand together in unison against this person who just wants to make the bus free should tell you something. And all of them stand together against him in the way that they are, with all the money they're throwing at him, and with all the fear-mongering that they're doing. It's having the opposite effect. Because now, to vote for him, even if you don't even like him, you get to stick it to a billionaire, people you already don't like. So what you've accidentally done is made voting for him like kind of cool as well. It would be like if you didn't want someone to date someone else, but the way that you lobbed things at them, the things that you said about them to try to discourage this person from dating this other person, would be like if you sat them down and said, oh, you don't want to get with him. No, his penis too big. He's just... You don't even want those problems. You don't.
It is very important. It's very important that you take care of yourself, especially now. You know, when people try to make you feel bad for engaging in self-care, or just looking out for your own well-being, your sanity. You know, it's important to take care of yourself. Especially, like, I tried to take care of myself off and on, and it rarely goes well. You know, like. I was going through a bit of a, I wouldn't call it an episode, but I was just really down. You know, I was real depressed and everything. And my friend suggested, because this is at a time in my life where I was not going to be able to afford therapy. You know, therapy was just going to be whoever was listening right now. And so my friend suggested, he was like, hey, I've been reading a lot about this. If you're around a pet, like maybe you don't have the means to take care of a pet right now, but if you're able to be around a friend's pet or something, it boosts your mood, like releases endorphins and everything, you should try that. Come over to my place. I have a cat. And I was like, well, this is better than nothing, so I'll give it a try. And I went over. I had never met his cat before. But this cat, he always talked about how sweet it was and how it was like a dog and everything. Yeah, somehow, yeah. And so I get over there, and he's like, yeah, just, hang out with us. We'll watch a movie, let him sit on your lap and everything, and, I guarantee you'll start to feel better. And I was like, all right, and I appreciated him even trying to help me. And so I was sitting there, and sure enough, the cat jumped up on the couch, and he was he was telling me everything the cat was doing while it was doing it and why it does it. It was just the worst version of David Attenborough I've ever seen in my life. Because the cat, first of all, the cat hopped up, and then he was like, he's trying to meet you. See, he wants to get to know you, like get your scent, suss you out, feel your vibe and everything. And I was like, yeah, I gathered that. I didn't think he jumped on the couch like, what? The cat jumped on the couch and starts walking around. The couch walks like top of the couch behind my head and everything. And I know I was depressed, but this was making me very anxious because the way the cat was stalking around me just felt like it was about to strike. You said this was a lap cat. You didn't say anything about like looking over my shoulder, reading my text messages. Sure enough, the cat hopped down between the two of us, and then he got on my lap, and he did do a little started like kneading on my thighs and everything, got in a little circle, and laid right down on my lap. It was very sweet, and we started watching the movie and everything, and then I was asking, because I've been through this before. No, I've been in this situation where people are like, no, my cat's great. You would love my cat. My cat loves when you pet him and everything. And then I come over and I pet the cat, and then 3 pets in. Like, first one, we're fine. Second one, we're good. Third one, I don't know what I did. But you would think that the third time I rubbed the cat, I said something about its mother, because the way that it pops up offended. And then people always blame me. They're like, you're doing it wrong. I'm like, I'm doing it the way I did it the first 2 times. There's no way that cats have a 3-strike rule. There's no way it didn't like it the first 2 times, but leaned into it, but then hated me the 3rd time. And so I was like, hey, how does he like the rubs? Is there something that he like specific to him, or just is anything fine? And he's like, oh, he likes when you start at the top of the head, like scratch around the ears and then rub all the way down. I was like, okay, sure. That's fine. Easy instructions. I think I can do this. I should be good. And so, sure enough, scratch the top of the head, scratch around the ears, and then rub his back. And it was nice. It was like a little rhythm to it and everything. And I guess he liked it enough that he started to purr. But this cat had the most bass in his voice I've ever heard in a cat. This is very upsetting. Because the cat didn't I was expecting a little meow. You know what I mean? Like just something subtle. This cat, like he didn't move, but he almost moved. Like it was so deep. He almost didn't get to the owl at the end. This cat, I'm rubbing it. And I'm not gonna lie, the second time I heard it, my hand stopped right where it was. I was like, nah, I feel like you made me uncomfortable right now. Because I was over here because okay, so I would scratch the head, and the cat started like really, like almost like standing up a little bit in my lap just to lean into the scratch more, so I was seeing his face, and I didn't like the face the cat was making. It's always satisfying when you're like scratching a dog and the dog gets like so into it that the foot get like uncontrollable. You're like, I'm getting him. It's always like cute because he's like, ah, you know, he like short circuits. This cat was like. And I could see his face, so I was like, should I keep going? Like, I feel like I'm hurting him. It's like, no, he loves it. He loves it. It's like, maybe he loves it too much. This is upsetting. I was like, dog, I think you got a pet demon. There's no way that this is a cat. And so it helped, but it didn't help. Yeah, I mean, like I came there depressed and I left confused about myself, about that cat. Because in my head, I'm like, what? Why would it make that face? You know, you go through this spell where you're like, what is it? And you also don't know where it comes from, because I'm sure some of it was like where I was in my life in the moment. Some of it was like, you start doing something, like even in the pursuit of comedy, you start doing something with the hope that one day you can do it well enough that more people can enjoy what you do than just you. You know, that's like the hope for every creative endeavor. It's like, obviously, whether you paint, whether you act, whether you do music, whatever it is, it's like you make this thing because you would like it to exist in the world, and then you hope that other people enjoy it. And along the way, especially when you're starting out, especially when you just don't have that that thing yet where you can close the gaps and put it together to bring something that's real to people, and you're in the pursuit of that, you can lose confidence sometimes that like, maybe I'll never put it together the way that I would like to. And maybe that's a little bit of where I was at. But a lot of it was being broke. A lot of it was also being broke. It's like, yes, I want to do my art and do it better, but man, that's a lot of grilled cheese for dinner. That is a ridiculous amount of grilled cheese for dinner. And so I even, you know, thinking about it, self-care, how do I take care of my physical health, my mental health? I was like, I'll meditate. I'll start meditating. That'll be good for me. Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts in my head. It always feels like there's a bunch of noise in here. I'll meditate. I'll clear the noise, right? And so I thought to myself, okay, how do you meditate? I went to YouTube. I watched a dude meditate, and I was like, he really just had the camera on him and didn't say anything for 10 minutes. He like low-key took it too literal, and he just meditated. Like his thing, the video said how to meditate, and then it's just on. I thought it was a picture for a minute, because he was being real still, and he was just. And there was a part of me that was like, did he fall asleep? Like, and so I was like, okay, I'll meditate. So then I bought a book on meditation. I was reading the book about meditation, and then through the book, I was like, okay, these are the things to do, and especially when you have a thought. You know, we're so busy, we're so deeply. We're so deep in it, we don't even realize the way that we've made our mind busy feels normal. And it's not until you go on vacation that you realize, like, oh, I don't, like, when I live like that some of that noise is just extra. You do have to do things all day, and you do have a world and a life keeping you busy, but some of the noise is like manufactured from the phone or from the several screens, whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to meditate. And one of the main things they talk about in meditation is that you cannot beat yourself up when you get distracted from meditation and your mind starts to wander. You just notice your mind wandering, bring yourself back to the point of not wandering, and then hold on to that moment for as long as you can, right? And then you'll start to think about stuff, but just come back. You'll be fine. And eventually you'll get so good at not wandering that you'll really have like a calm mind. And it won't be every day, it won't be all the time. But when you put your intention to it, you'll have a calm mind. So I sat down, I'm going to meditate. Okay. I tried to like crisscross applesauce my legs, and I was realizing, I was like, my right gonna fall asleep. I don't know why I'm not as flexible as I should be. And so I was just sitting, put my feet together and everything. And I was like, okay, just breathe. Just breathe. Just think about your breath. Hold on to the ideas of your breath. Just think about how you're breathing. That's how you stay present. Every breath is important. Being present is important. Don't think about anything else. Don't think about how we left the gold standard, and so now there's really nothing but fear and anxiety backing up the dollar and the sort of like weighted debt system that we live in, because it really is the only thing holding us together, is like the expectation that it can't possibly fall apart, because if it ever fell apart, it would fall apart for everyone. It's basically like our economy, our government is holding a gun to the heads of us and every other nation at the same time. And if we at all stop this thing, if we ever stop this machine from running, maybe we could like release ourselves from the idea of this like economic, like, if we're being honest, like an economic enslavement to the dollar and to the ideas behind the dollar, and we could end up in a better world, a world where like maybe you could actually work with some sort of meritocracy for both your efforts and for your work. And if we got there, if we were able to do that, I wandered. I didn't even wander. Okay, all right. And so I went ahead and I stopped meditating. I stopped meditating. Maybe I'll start again one day, but I stopped meditating because it was bad for my mental health. At least the way I was doing it, because I was doing it wrong. It was basically just me crashing out with my eyes closed in a quiet room with a drippy faucet. Yeah. So then I was like, you know what I'll do? Maybe I tried to take care of myself, mental, inside, everything, but maybe I just need to go get a massage. That's what I need to do. But when you're young and things are cheap, you know what I mean? Like if something's like $8, you're like, oh, that must be a good deal if it's $8. I went to this place because they were doing a promotion. They basically wanted you to become a member, and the membership was like whatever, like $40 a month. But if you signed up, you could basically sign up after the first massage. And so the first massage, to get you to do it for sure, but still have something to pay the masseuse, the first massage is like $8. Right? So it's $8. $40 subscription. You can come in like twice a week or whatever. But like $8. I was like, $8? Okay. I'm sure I got a bunch of knots and everything. My back always hurts. Let's go ahead and get this massage. And when I tell you that this massage was worth $2. It was worth exactly $8, all right? This is one of the worst beatdowns I ever had in my life. I've literally squared up and lost before, and I didn't get beat up the way I got beat up in here. Because, okay, they clearly gave me the person who was like, you know, training or something. Because it's a room where you can hear, it's like three different people are all broken off in these like little stalls, but you can hear what's happening around you. And so I can hear the dude, anytime he speaks, I hear it, right? Because I also don't really understand the tiling and everything. I don't know what this place was. This is like clearly like a Mexican restaurant before it was. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm almost positive they kept the tables and I'm on one of those tables. Because the table was not comfortable at all. The table was built like a sturdy table built to hold a platter of food. And so I'm laying at the table, and I knew these weren't tables made for like a masseuse, because you know how when you lay in a massage table and there's that place for your face and everything? Okay, they didn't have that at all. They didn't have that at all. They had cut a hole in the table they gonna hold a table, but they had just put these like kind of like plushy napkins around the hole in the table, so I could still feel how sharp, because they cut the table with carpentry. Like this wasn't smooth at all, and so it was a clean cut, but it was sharp. And so I'm laying there, face pushed against these pillows, pushed against this like circle of wood. And you know how when they're training at a barbershop, the haircuts will be like $2 because like they don't know what's gonna happen either, right? I had my head down so I can only tell y'all what I felt. But once again, you have like my ears aren't covered or anything, and so there's music playing in the background, but I can hear his footsteps. And I don't know what goes into the massage because I didn't ask any questions because I didn't. So I don't know if this is going to be one of those like Swedish or like hot stone or like whatever rub down thing. I just know that I paid $8. I'm getting like massage. And so I'm laying there, and then I'm not even kidding. I'm laying there, and this dude is walking around me for too long. This dude walking around stalking me, all right? Stalking me like prey. And then this was not a relaxing experience because the way he started the massage, like sometimes they start and they like, like feel for certain points, like what's tense, stuff like that. Or they touch you, shoulders, back of the neck, something like that. This dude started. And in my head, I'm like, oh, so it's a fight. Like, that's crazy. The fact that the way you start is just to hit me in my back. Dude stalking around, hit me, kept walking. And I couldn't tell if he was walking because he was just walking in circles or if he had lost something. And so then, he starts in. And he's doing like the palm of his hand, working it around and everything. Like really putting it together. The man they gave me for the massage was a big man in every sense of the word. He was wide, he was tall, he was big and strong. He was too big to be on me like full weight and everything, just pushing on me hard and everything. Don't put me through the table. This is terrible. And so then, and he got no rhythm to what he's doing. So then I'm trying to figure out when I can breathe because the way he's pushing me down, it's making my breathing sound bad. So then I'm just laying there, and then every once in a while I'm like, oh, and this is violence. This isn't a massage. He punching me slow. I've said something I should have said with my full chest and then had to start fighting. I've never been through this before. This man over here. And I guess I've gone like enough times because I'm trying to hold it together because there's other people in this Mexican restaurant massage parlor. They full of tables because it's $8 massages. So I'm trying to stay tough because everybody can hear me. Last thing I need is finish my massage the same time somebody finishes their massage. They're like, oh, that's him. Like that would be terrible. They got us in stalls and everything, but still. And I don't want to say anything because nobody else is saying anything. Like the place is full. There's other people in here. And clearly they have like a $10 massage because I don't hear any problems out of anybody else. But I was over here, then finally, this dude, this is how I knew he wasn't professional. This man leans in, as you know, checking on me and everything, because they do this sometimes. And they're supposed to whisper because it's supposed to be a serene environment and everything. And instead of asking me, like, is that too much pressure, or would you like it a bit lighter, or are there any places you'd like me to focus on, this dude just leaned down next to me. And what was offensive too is that because I can see through the hole. You can always see through the hole, right? I don't have some sleep mask on. I can see through the hole in the ground, and I see his knee, so I can tell he's doing this. Like he's posted up next to me, and he leans next to me, and he doesn't check on me in a professional way at all. Just leans next to my ear and goes, "You good?" You good? And so I was like, I'm still not trying to back down. He goes, "You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm great." That was a lie. I was dying. I was absolutely dying. And then he goes, "Okay." And I think that in his head, that was like, oh, I always hold back for clients. I can finally let loose. And so now this man looked like he from The Blind Side, and then he moved on to my lower back, and he was using his elbow now. Man, just working elbow. I feel what has to be my kidney moving. I feel like my kidney went to the other kidney and was like, "I'm gonna chill with you because things are terrible over there right now. There's no way I'm staying over there." So I felt something move, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I get because this one was so like involuntary. I was like, "Whoa!" And then he. This time he doesn't even lean down. He leans over. He's still above me, and he's like, "You all right?" And I said, "Is that all you got?" And what happened next is completely unacceptable, because I don't know. I tried to like extend some sort of grace in my mind of what happened next, because once again, this is like a starting company doing like a terrible type of Groupon promotion. I don't know. There's no way they're going to stay in business with this type of model. This is insane, right? And because once again, they have the oils and stuff like that. I know he was supposed to be using the oil, because eventually I'm like, we both can't be dry, sir. Like this, this man is massaging me with hands that need chapstick. This is crazy. My back getting torn up right now. My back is on fire, old chapped hands. And so then I was like, "Hey, do you have any?" Do you have any oil? Because it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like my back's kind of burning, and do you have any oil? And this dude goes, I was more offended by this than anything. This man goes, "I guess." And I was like, no, don't act like I'm doing something to you. This is part of it. It has the oil's here, which means it's part of it. Don't act like I'm some pervert, all right? This dude goes to get the oil, and to this day, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but I think it was, because I heard a slight pop above me before it happened, right? But this dude, one of two things happens. Either he really didn't like me, so he just decided to do it, or he slipped on the oil. But this dude straight up gave me a people's elbow. Like that. I'm laying there, he goes to get the oil, he comes back, and all I hear is, and I knew he was on the ground because I saw his foot through the hole. This man fell and almost knocked himself out. I finally lift my head up out of the table, and I look over my shoulder, and he's getting up, wide-eyed. This man's eyes were so wide, it felt like he gave himself amnesia. Like he was just like, why am I in a massage parlor? I'm a linebacker for the Ravens. There's no reason for me to be here right now. This is crazy. And so then, this dude stands back up. He's clearly shaking. Because by the time he does my legs, he's like barely touching them. He's just like, and he did this thing. This is the other thing. I knew this dude wasn't professional because I'm positive he ran out of stuff. He ran out of ideas because you could hear him whispering to somebody else where he's like, I knew he didn't know what to do with my leg, because by the time he got down the leg to the foot, he was holding the back of my foot, right? And he just wiggled my leg. I was like, nah, dog, you don't know what you're doing right now. Sir, don't wiggle me. Don't you dare. I'm a grown man, you're not gonna wiggle me. That's crazy. You try to do some self-care as a man and then out here getting wiggled. That's crazy. Oh, I was furious. I was so mad. The only thing that calmed me down, right after I got wiggled, I got so mad, and the only thing that calmed me down was the fact that this place, this massage parlor / former Mexican restaurant, this place didn't pay for premium on the Spotify. So then I hear an ad for Casper mattresses in the middle of a cool running brook. I was like, you know how down bad you have to be to have like 8 customers in here and still be like, we can't swing premium yet. It's crazy. There are like 8-hour-long uninterrupted videos of cool running brooks on YouTube, and you still, whatever. And so then he lifts my leg by my foot and has it like bent over like this, stretches me like that on the table, and then gets to the toes, which I didn't need him to do. But this must be his specialty because it happened so fast. I didn't even get to say anything. I was about to be like, hey, you can leave the toes alone because I'm also ticklish. And so the last thing I need after the hooves is to be like, I would die. I would die if everybody in here heard me and then hear me. But before I can say anything, this dude got my leg bent over, and then he starts like to, do something to my toe. And in my head, I'm like, he too strong. He gonna snap my toe right off. And to this day, I've never felt this sensation again. This dude, sometimes a masseuse will do something to each toe and everything, then move on to the other foot, do something to each toe. This dude went and popped all my toes. It was the only thing in the massage where I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Wow. No, this is really good. Like, that's crazy. I feel like I could touch the rim now or something. dude lifted my other foot. All my toes popped again perfectly. I was like, he really does this as a technique. This was worth the $8, you know? You know, sometimes you have that thing where you're like, oh, I had a little cramp, stomp it out or something. Popped all my toes. And then, you know, after he did, you know, my back, my legs, my feet, he came over to the side again. So he's like on the other side of the table. And I should have left, right? But he's like, I'm gonna turn around, flip over, dog. And I was like, that. Come on now. You couldn't hit me with a sir, I'm a paying customer. Flip over, dog. No decorum at all. But here's the thing, the back, I thought he had ruined me, right? And then the legs, I was like, he doesn't know what he's doing. But the foot, I was like, that worked. Maybe he knows something else. Like, maybe I'm just picturing. So then I go ahead, I flip over, and then I'm laying there, and then he, you know, is doing my arms and everything. And he's like, massage my arm. And it felt like he was like learning in real time. I was like, this is not that bad, you know? Like, even with the shoulder, he was like doing a little bit of stretching and then like stretching over and then like massaging while he was stretching everything. I was like, maybe he's just a front masseuse. Maybe he just shouldn't do backs. Like, this is really good. And he had my arm over and was like, you know, doing a bunch of stuff. To the point where I was trying to, you know, relax at everything. Even had my head in the table hole. I was really trying to zone out. This is like the massage is ending, you know, it's half back, half front and everything. But he was doing such a good job on the front and he seemed to be so well versed at it. I was like, I wonder if the book, he just read the first half and the first half is front or something. Or he like dropped out of masseuse school, but he was real good at front, and they were like, you gotta learn to do backs. And he was like, let me do my thing, right? But, you know, flip over and everything, and he's doing so good on the arms and stuff. And just when I had faith in him, he grabbed my hand and just wiggled my whole arm, and I was like, right before the wiggle, though, right before it happened, it was such a stark difference between massages that I was like, maybe this is a different guy. Because I've been having my eyes closed as I flipped over. And so I opened my eyes, which is a huge mistake. Because then for the rest of the massage, neither one of us knew when to break eye contact. Like, I'm just laying there, eyes open, while he's over here. And then walks over, and he's like massaging, you know, like a little bit behind the ear and everything. But like, I don't know why I did it, but like my eyes followed him. So now we're just looking at each other. And in my head, I'm like, blink, blink, blink. Break eye contact, please. He comes over to the other side, does the other arm, and I could tell that I made him uncomfortable. Because after he wiggled the second arm, he just let go. He was like, that's it. And so I walked out to reception, right? I was out there with reception and came out and they were like, how was your massage? And I was like, yeah, it happened. Definitely happened. They were like, are you good with everything? I'm like, I'm fine. Just, you know, like to pay real quick. And then they were like, do you think you'll be getting the membership? And I was like, I'm good. I'm all right. And they're like, okay. all right, it's a good offer. And come in twice a week, $40. The add-ons are half price. You sure? I was like, I'm positive. I'm good. And they're like, okay, well, that'll be $8. Would you like to leave a tip? Hey, here's my thing. If I'm being honest, in my heart, I wasn't sure I wanted to tip. But I also knew that with both of us living in Chicago, at any time this man could come and find me and massage me. Everybody's so mad at Timothée Chalamet. This is, wow! This is very mad. Okay, in case you didn't see it, this is, woof. Okay, so in case you didn't see it, he was talking to Matthew McConaughey, right? And they were surrounded. It was like a CNN variety thing, and they were all together in this room where a bunch of, I guess, like aspiring actors were surrounding them. The setup felt awkward, but basically, Timothée Chalamet said, at some point, he was talking about film, and he was like, I don't want to be working in ballet or opera or one of these things where they're like, please keep this thing alive even though nobody cares about it anymore, right? And I didn't know so many people did ballet and opera because the way that they came for his life, his head, everything, wow. So I thought it would be fun to come to the Wheeler Opera House. And talk about it. Because this is the thing. Look, this is the thing. Okay, so people were very, very upset. It's so big. It feels crazy that it's that big. We're at war. It's crazy that it's got this big. I thought it would blow over in like a day. And no, people still out here making videos. People still out here talking about it. Even me. It got me too. Even the Met replied. The Met, okay. I understand being upset at the idea, even the sentiment that like your art, the thing that you pour all of yourself into, is dying, right? I understand how it feels dismissive and offensive and everything. I'm not coming at anybody who had a response. I'm just saying like the Met replied with a video. I understand he was being disrespectful. He was being disrespectful to two art forms that are like actually the cornerstone of where a lot of creativity has come from, right? I understand that. I do get that. The Met, okay, this would be like, okay, because I've been out with friends or whatever, and someone will say something about how they don't care at all about basketball. They don't care. I don't know what the rules are. They get it in the hoop, I guess. I don't care, right? Barclays Center doesn't reply to that person to be like, actually, a lot of people like it. But I understand why the Met did it, because here's the thing. If you are in any creative field right now that in any way is struggling, what is usually money that we count as the struggle. More often than not, it's like this thing isn't making money, so it must be struggling. And I think that sometimes we do the same thing that I at least think Timothy was doing when he said that, which is we confuse like commerce with creativity. We look at this exchange of artists giving us their work and us returning it with our attention, and we look at it in a way that I don't think is helpful to art at all. Just ask an artist. And what happens is, if you're not making a ton of money, you must not be good at art, is the idea. And if you make a bunch of money, you must be the best at art, which everyone knows is not true. And so I think that when you talk about this thing is dying or nobody cares about it anymore, it's like, I think you're only speaking on money. And so if something doesn't yield a lot of money, in the back of our minds, it's not great art.
Because if it was great art, more people would engage with it, give more of their dollars to it. It would just be more substantial, you know? But that's not why you do art. I know maybe for some people it is, but it shouldn't be. That's not what makes art. Imagine if your kid came to you and said, when I grow up, I want to make money. I'm talking stacks. I'm a paint. Oh, sweetie, I have terrible news for you about the art world. And don't get me wrong, that's not to say that artists don't make money and that people don't care about art that doesn't end up making money. We have to do it like an uncoupling of art and money, of art and popularity. Real art, the things that move you, they move you. And sometimes they happen to move other people. But whether they do or not, that shouldn't determine whether we count them as art. You see a painting and you're moved, that's art to you. You hear a song and you're moved, that's art to you. It shouldn't matter how many streams it has. It shouldn't matter if the person that made it is on the charts. The song moved you. Art is so subjective, not just in its value, but also in like its meaning to the individual, that you will hear a song that moves you more than anything has ever moved you in your life. And you might even be blessed enough to one day meet the person who wrote that song and get to tell them what that song meant to you and how you could hear the pain that they had in the relationship that they were longing for in the song, and you came across that song in a time in your life when you were also hurting deeply. Maybe you lost someone, maybe it was a loved one, or maybe you lost love. Maybe someone broke up with you and you just could not put it into words, even in the quiet of your own mind. You couldn't find the words, and you heard that song and it was everything that you had ever wanted to say to yourself about what you were going through. And you get to tell them that. And then maybe they say, oh, wow, I'm so glad it moved you. That song was about heroin. Because that's part of art. Part of art is making it and then letting it go, letting it be whatever it is to other people. You know, you spend a lot of time, especially when you begin as an artist, making bad art. Now, this bad art, maybe it's bad because it's not well communicated. Maybe it's bad, someone would say, because it's not making any money and no one knows who you are yet. Or maybe it's just bad in your own opinion based on the skills that you build off the skills you didn't have when you first did the art. Right? So it takes a long time. And then to have your art recognized is a tremendously powerful thing. To get an award for your art means so much, because as artists, no matter what you do, I don't know if you act, if you write, whether it's poetry, novels, whatever you do, whatever artistic thing it is that you do, you are on your own in this endeavor. Even when you're with a group, your contribution comes from you. You are on your own as you do it. And because you're on your own, you're just sometimes what feels like floating in a void. Is this good? Is this worth it? Should I share it? All these things that eat away at your artistic endeavor. An award sometimes is the validation that you need to keep going, and it shouldn't be, but sometimes it is. It's nice when someone or a group of people or everybody is like, wow, that's art. You killed it. And maybe that's why Timothée Chalamet wants an Oscar so bad. Because he's clearly killing it. He's been in a lot of blockbusters. He's known as a great actor. But this thing, the pinnacle, he hasn't reached it yet. And so he's been on a marketing campaign for a movie that he did. It feels like the campaign has been going on longer than the movie was out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've seen more interviews for it than longer than it was, but you get it. And I'll even say this, I don't know if this is going to come off however it comes off, but I personally view Timothée Chalamet as someone who promotes his movie like his character from the movie. Do you know what I mean? So when he was like sweet and sensitive and quiet, that's how he promoted the movie. You see in interviews where he was like, I'm just happy to be working with it. I just, it's like the artist. It's like, what did you say? No, we should really just it doesn't matter what I said. You know what I mean? Like, we should really just listen to more women speak. That's like what. And now for Marty Supreme, you can guess what the character's like, because Timmy's out here, hard, promoting. This is the movie. Have you seen the movie? Then what you doing with your life? Get together, Marty Supreme, Christmas Day. And I think some of the annoyance is it's because we don't have a sort of like monoculture anymore that just feeds us the thing to be watching and to be talking about. Once the internet sort of democratized attention, we got to this place where, okay, I could do anything all day. I could watch 2 hours of cat videos. I could watch like 2 hours of cat videos and nobody can stop me. You're not the boss of me. And I'm not crazy for watching 2 hours of cat videos because you provided them to me, internet. Like you're acting like I have some sort of choice. There's a cat video, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. And so you're able now to go from what was cable, which is just, this is what's gonna be on, and you can watch this at 8 o'clock, or you can change the channel and watch something else at 8 o'clock. But all the TV and all the attention is already sort of spoken for in a way. And then the internet made it so that you could be doing anything. You could just be playing chess for 3 hours online, losing. Losing badly. Losing in a way that makes you question if you understand the concepts of space. Losing so fundamentally that it makes you wonder if you're colorblind to what black and white are. Losing horrifically. Losing so bad that you scream into a screen that can't hear you. It can't hear you, and neither can your opponent. You just lost in a room by yourself playing chess. And one day maybe you won't lose, but that day isn't today. You've been losing for 3 hours straight. You've been putting all of your time and attention into doing these en passant and trying to get somebody to fall for the scholar's mate and everything, and now you're just sitting here in checkmate. You don't even have the strength in your hand to refresh the page because you don't know if you can lose again. If you lose again, you might snap. This might be, who would have thought, with everything going on in the world, who would have thought losing a chess for 3 hours was the thing that would break you? And so you could do that. You could do that. You could watch cat videos. You could do whatever. So then when you see something over and over again, like Timothy Chalamet promoting Marty Supreme, it feels a bit forced. Because you're not used to seeing things you don't feel like seeing anymore. I mean, outside of the news. I feel like Tim was out here promoting hard, believing in this movie, campaigning for that Best Actor Oscar award. But this is a tough year to try to get it. Because you also have sinners. Wow. Okay, look, if you haven't seen Sinners, what are you doing with your life? Look, if you haven't seen Sinners, just Sinners winning, sweeping at the Oscars for the story would be amazing. Because Ryan Coogler, this man got a groundbreaking deal for this movie. This man got a groundbreaking deal for this movie in a time where we're not even really making new things often. We are leaning on nostalgia hard. Everybody's trying to make it a bygone era all over again. Do it all the time. Come on, y'all, Rush Hour 4. It needs to happen. You as a creative, right, up against the industry. No matter who you are and no matter what you do, you can probably appreciate what this story means for people. You as a creative are up against your industry to create something new. You want to make something new because everyone's kind of sick of the stuff we've seen before. We can't stay nostalgic for the 90s forever. I love 90s nostalgia just as much as anybody else. It's when my knees were the best. I love 90s nostalgia. I'm trying to do 90s nostalgia all the time. Like, hey, do y'all remember when? Y'all remember I did that push-up real fast? That was good stuff, man. 90s were all right. All the musicians I liked were still alive and we didn't know enough about them. You know what I mean? 90s, wow, ooh. 90s, even into the 2000s. Still pretty good. We didn't appreciate it back then. It was like we had just enough tech to feel like we were headed towards the future, but not enough that it was like rotting our brain. At most, you played like Centipede on your phone too much. But yeah, there's this thing that you sit down as a creative and you sit down opposite your industry, whatever the gatekeepers are, whatever the people with the big money, right? And you pitch to them. And they're used to being pitched to. But you pitch to them something where I still don't know, to the moment I'm speaking, how this ever happened. You pitch them a deal that if it works, and if everyone watches it work, could be the death of the old guard of your industry. It could be the death of the way that things are done. You know, he negotiated this incredible deal, like a generational wealth type of deal. You dream about these deals, and then you wake up, and then, you know, you realize you're not on your break anymore. You're actually 5 minutes late for your shifts. And you clock back in and your boss is breathing down your neck, but you're like, one day I'll be able to make just art. One day. These are the type of dreams you dream about when you dream about a deal like this. And it was gonna be him making money off of like $1. None of this like funny business, Hollywood accounting, where you tell me I get points on the thing, but then you also tell me the thing never became profitable while bragging about how profitable it was because you made back channels for yourself to pay yourself to where you're still in debt even though you made all the money. None of that. Also, I'll own it again. Over time, I'll own it again. This thing that is wildly popular, I'll get ownership back. I actually have ownership over my intellectual property. You can have it for a little while, but you're just borrowing it. It's mine. It was a deal that was usually what the industry does to the artist. So it was mind-blowing. And then they make the movie. The movie drops. The movie is very good. The movie's incredible, and we expect nothing less. It's Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler. These are the people that brought us Creed, Black Panther, Fruitville Station. It even got the Black Panther treatment, where if you were in a room and you didn't like Sinners that much, you better not tell anybody. I like Sinners, but I watched some people who didn't like Sinners that much voice that they didn't like Sinners that much, and then watch them get eaten alive verbally. Like I had to act like I didn't even come with them. I was like, I don't know who he is. And you saw the articles come out when Sinners came out, and the articles were fascinating because the articles were hating hard. These articles, people act like they didn't write them now that like everybody loves the movie. But woof, Sinners came out and they were like, all right, it made $50 million, but it cost way more than that to make, so like, we'll see. You're like, oh, I've never seen an article like that. It's like, okay, Sinners made like $90 million, but 90 isn't 92. It finally got to the point where articles were coming out that were like, look, Sinners made a lot of money, but it didn't make it all at once. It didn't make it like on the first day, though. It felt like these articles were written in the voice of like, if you like someone and then they curbed you and you got to write an article about their current boyfriend. You know what I mean? It's just hater energy from the start. Just literally sitting there like, he a surgeon, but how many lives has he saved really? You know what I mean? Like, he went to school and all, that's nice. Sound like a lot of student loan debt if you ask me. But, yeah, I mean, like, is he a good surgeon? I don't know. Let's ask one of his patients that's no longer with us. Oh, wait, we can't. You know what I mean? And so you have all that, and that's what you're up against in this field of people fighting for that same award. A lot of people want Michael B. Jordan to win. You know? Yeah, they're here. I'm one of them. I guess, okay, I'll tell you a quick story. When I was in junior high, all the different junior high and high schools where I grew up would have their talent shows around the same time, right? And so people would go and support their friends and everything. And there was a kid that went to this one school, and he was in a wheelchair, right? And he was the first student that somehow had been in a wheelchair, so they had to update all these things to code to accommodate him. And that can get a lot of eyes on you, especially as a kid. Literally being the only one who is different can get a lot of eyes on you in a terrible way. But this kid, very confident. Very, very confident. Confidence from a place that, I don't know, it's one of those people where it almost feels like they were born with it. You know, because yes, he's wheeling down the halls and he's got his friends. He makes his friends because he's got a great personality and everything. And then the talent show comes around. And no one knew he had been working on this. Nobody knew what he had planned to do. They just knew he had entered in the talent show. And he wouldn't tell anybody. They're like, what are you going to do? He's like, you'll see. That day comes for a talent show. This kid wheels up to the stage, grabs 2 crutches. You have to forgive me because I don't know what they're called when they go around your wrist, but he had the 2 crutches, stands up, and then does a dance routine medley to Walk It Out and 2-step. People are losing their minds. He got out of a wheelchair and was 2-stepping. People were losing it, crushed it. Walks back over to his wheelchair, sits back down, even wheels out cool, just goes backwards off the ramp. I can't imagine having to follow him. Apparently the kid that went after him did tap dance, and it was not as well received. I'm not gonna lie, if I had planned to tap dance that night and the kid before me got out of a wheelchair and danced to 2-step, I would walk out in tap shoes like, I'm gonna do some beatboxing for y'all real quick. But the night goes on, but everybody's talking about it. Literally, people are performing and there are people whispering like, do you believe that's crazy? And then this young lady goes up and she sings, right? And she's got a great voice, sings very well, sings beautifully, and then gets off stage. And because it's a talent show with judges, they judge the performances, they announce the winners, and they gave it to the girl that sang. And everyone, okay. Apparently, even when they announced her name, she was like, yo. The audience didn't see it, but backstage they announced her name, and she was telling us, just like, hey, no. So I think about that, because like, what if Timothée Chalamet wins? And it's important to remember, not just for him, but for all of us. Even with the success of something like Sinners, it's like art can't be audited. Like you can't penny pinch passion. The things that make people dedicate their lives to art forms, there's no price that you can put on it. And what about artwork that you can't make money from? There are artists who do beautiful drawings in the sand and let the tide take it away. Is that not art because they didn't charge you to watch them at the beach? You know, us expanding our understanding of what art is and what artists go through is like, yeah, it's just paramount to a better world, you know? And you know, in Sinners, they have that song, I Lied to You. Incredible song. Incredibly visually, everything that's happening in the movie. And apparently they're gonna have I Lied to You performed at the Oscars. And Misty Copeland, the first African-American principal ballerina, is gonna be dancing. And Timothy Chalamet is gonna be sitting there like, yo, it was 12 seconds, my bad. Like, but he's not the only person having a rough week. Kristi Noem got fired. Kristi Noem, It's just such a funny firing to me. It's like, you did all that and got fired. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, imagine basically being a Nazi and still getting fired. That's like somebody snitching and still going to jail. It's just like, what was it for? I don't know, man. What's Kristi gonna do? Can't work at Homeland Security? Can't work at an animal shelter? Like, her job prospects are dwindling in real time. Man. Yeah, Kristi Noem is just, I don't know, it's ridiculous. It's so bad. I'll tell you right now why I think Kristi Noem got fired before Pam Bondi. Because at least with Pam Bondi, there are people who see what's happening. They see like the release / not release, or the covering up / exposing, or the attack on, or like distraction from the Epstein files as like her. Like, a lot of this they see as her fault, right? They don't see it as Trump. So when the files get released, but then they're redacted in these weird places that seem like important information that can't be about national security, it looks like it was Pam Bondi. When the law is literally broken because they're supposed to be released by a certain date and they're held even longer so they could be redacted more, it looks like it's Pam Bondi instead of Trump. But with Kristi Noem, she never really felt in charge. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you saw ICE, you weren't like, that dang Kristi Noem. You were like, no, this is Trump's thing. Like, Pam Bondi runs a sort of cover for Trump that Kristi could never. You know? Because then there were people who were like, Pam Bondi's going to be like this whip-smart lawyer. She understands the law. Some people were even saying she's going to rein Trump in a little bit, right? But I don't care who you are. Even MAGA, when Kristi Noem got hired, they were like, oh. All right, I guess do what you want. I mean, we know she a killer, so I guess that's something, I suppose. Oh, Kristi Noem mismanaged so much money. Spent hundreds of millions of dollars on ads for ICE. Went to marketing consultants and tried to help her be like the face of ICE, face of Homeland Security and everything. Just mismanaged all these funds. They even asked her if she had an affair on the job with Corey Lewandowski. And she was like, this sort of line of question is absolutely ridiculous. I can't even believe that the Senate would stoop to this sort. And then they were like, you're not saying no. Yeah. Man, what do you do? Kristi Noem out here. The thing that's funniest to me about Kristi Noem, okay, if I'm being honest with you, one thing that does make me laugh is if you wrote a book about Kristi Noem, right? Not the one that she did. Like, if you wrote a whole book about Kristi Noem and everything that she did, and you just put it out there, and let's say her name wasn't on it, and somebody read that book, they'd be like, this right here feels racist to white women. Like, this. Some of this doesn't even seem true. White women love puppies. They never murder one. No. And then Kristi Noem's been replaced with Mark Wayne Mullen. Mark Wayne, if you can't tell by the name, Mark Wayne Mullen is about as equipped as Kristi Noem. I love the name Mark Wayne Mullen because Mark Wayne, it sounds like you have to yell that name and tell that person not to do something that no one's ever done before. Do you know what I mean? Mark Wayne! Mark Wayne, stop drinking that paint! Mark Wayne! Mark Wayne, quit it! Mark Wayne, stop smudging the glass with your penis! Mark Wayne! Mark Wayne, cut it out! Mark Wayne, stop eating light bulbs, Mark Wayne. Mark Wayne just doesn't, all right, but just doesn't feel like a serious name to me. Just go by Mark, buddy. Because Mark Mullen sounds like out of a movie. You know what I mean? Mark Mullen, okay. Who is this person? Are they competent? Mark Wayne. You hear it, right? You hear it. This isn't just because I grew up in Louisiana. This is like, I'm telling you right now, there's Mark and there's Mark Wayne. Like, Mark Wayne sounds like he skipped school to go to the rodeo. Like, it's... And he's an interesting guy because he's been tapped. He's not really better than Kristi Noem in any regard, and he tried to have a fight in Congress with a guy who was testifying. A lot of people forgot about this video. He challenged this dude to a fight in real time. They like were getting into it, exchanging words. He's like, well, we can handle it right now. Bernie Sanders had to be like, you sit down. You say, yo, Senator, sit down. Imagine, you Mark Wayne Mullen, and Bernie Sanders break you off of somebody. Yeah. Even Trump not having a good last couple months at all. This is very bad. It's very, like, no one seems to want to admit how bad it is. This is very bad. This is genuinely, like I hope you can understand objectively. This is serious and it's horrible. Look at his neck. That's crazy. I don't know what happened. I saw that. I was like, oh. I'm trying to have my snacks. You can't just sneak up on me with that picture. That's not fair at all. If you haven't seen Trump's neck, it looked like somebody ran it right over. This is crazy. This man, first his hands. Looked like he got like Smurf knuckles on his hands. And then just certain parts of his neck looked sunburnt, but like deeper than that. It's very weird. You saw it over the collar. He's also been getting more screenings than like other presidents. You know, he's like get a lot of screenings just to say he's healthy. Whenever I go to the doctor and he says that I'm healthy, I don't see that dude again for a while. That's not a good sign either, to have a doctor check in every 2 months, be like, oh, healthy? Yep. Oh, healthy. Not at all. This man, wow. He bad off. He looked like the flag. He genuinely red, white, and blue. Like this dude is melting or something. I'm scared he got something new. You know what I mean? Like, I've never seen, I understand, like, age could do stuff to you. I get that. But, like, no, he is like an older man now. He's undeniably old. And remember when old was like a big deal? Remember when old was like disqualifying from being president not that long ago? I don't care who you are. We all owe Biden an apology. Because he was like old but quiet. Do you know what I mean? He was old in a way that was like, he told the story too low. You didn't know what he was saying, and when he was telling the story, it was like each part of the story was from a different decade. Like he'd start the story, he'd be like, I got this Sacagawea coin from Jimi Hendrix, and then Madonna showed up and performed like a virgin, and Fat Joe was there too, and he did Lean Back. It was all on the Amtrak train that they just finished in Delaware. It's like, that was a timeline. Nope. No, it was crazy. It was very bad. But now we have an old guy who is very clearly old. Obviously old, but he's mean, which makes him feel younger. I don't know if you ever visit anybody in a nursing home, but if they're not having a good day, they seem right with it. They're like just mean enough to feel like they got all their faculties. You know what I mean? Biden was old in that way that was like, well, is he gonna make it? No. I can't believe Trump, being this old, this unhealthy, is still like sidestepping these massive issues. You know? Like Biden couldn't do it because you would try to press Biden about something and he would be like, look. I was there. And now we're here. Like Biden would say something that you couldn't tell if it was like incoherent or wisdom. Trump is over here. You'll press Trump about are we at war? Are we at war? Yep. Are we doing a war? And Trump will be, instead of just answering the question, are we at war? You start a war without the approval of Congress. You start a war. And Trump will be like, well, you're ugly. Like, you are ugly, though. You're ugly, though. Are we not going to address that you're ugly, though? Like, we just going to all sit here like you're not being ugly right now? That's the real issue. You're at war with looks. You are. And before you know it, even we fall for the trick. We're like, I can't believe he called that reporter ugly. That was so rude. They were just doing their job. And it's like, yeah, you didn't make him answer the question. But he's very old. We have to accept the fact that our president is not equipped, very old. He has diapers. Don't try to deny it. We are not going to sit here right now and act like when Trump is walking around in that suit, that's just padunk behind him. There's no way. Trump a thick boy. He's not that thick. That's a diaper. That's 100% a diaper. We can take bets if you want. That's a diaper. Somebody changes the president every day. Yeah, you should be upset about that. Remember when we were like, he can't be president? That guy's forgetful. It's like, all right, okay. Yeah. Unacceptable. Truly, it's insane. Got us in a... Speaking of nostalgia, right? Like, talking about how Hollywood tries to repeat everything. Don't you remember a simpler time? A simpler time in politics. Remember Bush? Remember George Bush? You know W. In case you're confused about which Bush, I'm talking about the smiley one. You remember Bush? Remember that dude got us in a war, then choked on a pretzel. A lot of people forgot or didn't know this man choked on a pretzel soon after the war in Afghanistan started, and they had to Heimlich him. He was he about to go as president, choked on a pretzel. Secret Service had to save him from his tiny throat. What an innocent time. And he just keeps bringing people in who are out of their minds. You know? And Dr. Oz is over here. I don't know if Dr. Oz or RFK Jr. or what. RFK Jr. I understand that there's a process where the Senate confirms these cabinet positions and everything, and I understand that there are some things in personal bias that you would not want to allow to be disqualifying, so that way you could be impartial to how this person presents in front of you, right? But RFK Jr. was barefoot on a plain bathroom floor. That was it for me. I was like, I don't care what you do or what you eat or what ferments you eat, and you could be as crunchy as you want, but if you put your bare foot on plain bathroom floor, late in the flight too, late flight is very different than early. It still shouldn't happen at all, but late flight, every step is nasty. You over here in charge of health. That is infuriating. I won't stop talking about it. It's no matter what happens, whether it's the war in Iran, every day, there's so many things coming at you all the time for no reason at all. Out of nowhere the other day, Trump was like, Cuba's next. And I'm like, somebody give him a Valium or something. Slow him down. This is crazy. But no matter what happens, I won't stop talking about RFK Jr. being the head of Health and Human Services. Yeah, the Epstein files, but the head of Health and Human Services, you barefoot on a plane. Let me tell you the circumstances that it would take for me to be barefoot on a bathroom plane floor. We're on the plane. That's the first step. You have to be. We're on the plane. For whatever reason, it's going down. And it's going down hard. This is it. If you love anybody, call them. Take it off airplane mode. Make something happen. Because this is it, right? Black box might not even survive. Going all the way down. And then at the last second, they're able to pull the plane up a little bit. But what a lot of people don't know is that depending on how hard you pull and how fast how quickly it happens, you could snap the wings, So let's say that happens, the wings snap. Now we're just a bullet. Just a bullet going down from the air. Nobody tries to catch that bullet. Nobody's trying to help. Everybody trying to get out of the way. So now we're falling even faster because not even falling with wings. You can hear us in the clouds shooting past other clouds. We're flying past birds. Birds were like, what was that? I don't know. I think a gun? I have no idea. And then by some miracle, right? By some miracle, just in time, we hit another plane, right? I know this sounds bad at first. Hear me out. Listen to me. We hit a plane just enough to get knocked off course from going straight down, right? So now we're doing one of these things where we're kind of sliding down in the air, but some of the fuselage is broken off. So then we lost a few people. They flew right out. They got sucked out immediately, okay? Now I'm still in my seat because I wear my seatbelt like the flight attendant says to. So I've been over here bouncing, right? Because that is what would happen. People act like if you fasten in tight, your midsection will stay the seat. You going up, down too, right? I'm gripping the seat in front of me, you know, finally trying to read that pamphlet they give you. I try to read the pamphlet sometimes because I fly a lot, so you would think I know, and they still tell you to read it even if you fly a lot because maybe they updated it and have a plan for like if you're actually going down. Because the thing they tell you to do is just like, all right, don't pay attention to that, you're gonna die. Like that, like in the pamphlet, they're like, yeah, go ahead and tuck your head, and it's like, is that so your neck breaks faster? I have no idea why that's a good idea. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Has that ever saved anybody where they're like, oh, thank goodness I put my knees in my chest as the plane fell out of the sky. Whew. It's not that many pages, but you turn the other page. Wow, it says everything but pray. It doesn't say pray on here at all, but all right. And then we hit the ground, we snap off into another piece, right? And so now we're still flying through this field. Let's say we found like a nice grassy patch, like some prairie, sliding through, and pieces of the plane are flying off, you know. There's other seats flying past my head. Whoa, 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 you know. And then we're spinning and everything, and it's not advised. I shouldn't do it. I'm surprised I'm still alive, but I take off my seatbelt because I have a bad feeling about my seat. I think it's about to snap off too. And what do you know? I'm right. Just like in a James Bond film, as soon as I stand up, that seat fly out of the plane. And now I'm running, right? Running towards the cockpit. I'm running towards the cockpit, pieces of the plane flying back out of the plane and everything. And just as I'm almost at the cockpit, because it just seems safer to get to where the stuff won't fly and hit me. Just as I get there, I see a piece of metal. Maybe it's the jump seat of one of the flight attendants or something. I jump up, real action movie style. I jump up, and the metal on that jump seat cuts the bottom out of both of my shoes. I'm still running towards the cockpit, right? And then the door is locked, because of course it is. Of course the door to the cockpit is locked. Why did I think I could just get in there like that? But the thing that's right next to the cockpit door is the bathroom. Things can't fly at me if I'm in a safe room. And so then I walk in the bathroom and I shut the door. I do the pull, the lights come on. They still work somehow. And then I wait for somebody to come get me, because I'm terrified. First responders get there. They're like, hello, is anybody alive? Nobody. Is anybody alive? They call out to me and I'm like, hey, I'm in here. And now I do run the risk of them walking up to the bathroom door, opening it and wondering if I was in there for the entire plane crash. But I don't care about any of that. I open the door, I'm like, oh, thank goodness you're here. Maybe even I hug one of them, Firefighter's big and strong. Jump in his arms. And he's like, you're safe, you're on solid ground. I can't believe you survived. I can't either. And then he looks down at my feet and he sees that I was in the airplane bathroom with my feet touching the bathroom floor. And then he justly kills me. Cause yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna like age. You know? I'd like to think I'll be like a good old man. Like I'll be good at it. Like I'll have a bunch of stories. I go to tell a story because I've always loved telling stories ever since I was little. Right now, hopefully in the future, I'll have even more stories. And I'm older, so I don't project as much. You gotta lean in a little bit. They get close to me. And I'm like, this Sacagawea coin